What's up, TKAST?
Yeah, it's DJ Joe Ice, and you are now tuned into TKAST. Yes, sir.
How's it going? Welcome back to another episode. Today, I want to introduce you to my guest, Smoking Zippers, a.k.a. Nadia. Which one do you, I mean, obviously your name's Nadia, but what do you go by? Smoking Zippers, Nadia?
Definitely Nadia.
Nadia, okay. Okay, so you don't ever go by your Instagram name?
No.
No? Does anybody call you Smoking Zippers?
Yes, people call me that all the time.
I like it. It's a clever name.
It's funny. It's a funny name that kind of accidentally got stuck there. It wasn't like intentful of something I had planned and plotted out or anything.
Got it. Yeah, I mean, I'm kind of in the same place. People call me my Instagram name, but it's just because it's a little easier than picking a nickname for me.
Yeah, exactly.
Mm-hmm. Anyways, cheers to the first podcast.
Cheers. Thanks
we
for
finally made it happen.
having me here.
There you go.
I'm excited.
Welcome to TKAST.
I'm nervous.
Don't worry, there's nothing to be nervous about. How was your Christmas?
It was very uneventful.
Okay.
But I like it that way because I work hard all year round, and so it's like just come home and relax and not do anything crazy and just kind of lounge around with the family is always a good thing.
Yeah.
So, how was yours?
It was a bit of the opposite, to be honest. Christmas is always a crazy part of my life because we have some family come to town and my family gets together. It's like the only time in the year that my whole family gets together. Thanksgiving sometimes we all get together, but it's pretty rare that Christmas we're like apart.
Yeah.
But
Christmas is bigger than Thanksgiving. For a lot of people.
Yeah. So where were you born?
So I was actually born in New York City.
Okay.
In Manhattan.
Cool.
My parents are born and raised there.
Okay.
And then I eventually moved to Washington, D.C. when I was like a year old.
Oh, okay. Wow. So would you consider yourself a native to D.C.?
Yes.
Okay.
Because I grew up here.
Got it. Yeah. So you've been here since you were a year old?
Yeah.
You never left? Have you moved to other places?
No, when I was like 22, I moved to New York, and that's about it.
Wow. Okay. Cool. And so, what do you think? What's a few differences between New York and DC? Because I've lived in New York for a little while, and I haven't really. I mean, there are a lot, but what are the differences in your opinion between DC and New York?
Definitely the pace. New York is just so fast paced.
Mm-hmm.
It's faster than any city, I feel like. It's just always constantly moving and going, and everyone's in a rush, and you got to catch the train and walk everywhere. So that's definitely a big difference. The culture is different as well, but DC has changed so much, and it's always evolving that I feel like it's catching up. Because I think that's probably thanks to social media and so forth. Okay.
Yeah, because I mean, I've been living in DC for about, I think, 5 years now. But that's just because I haven't been able to get back to New York.
Where are you from?
I was born in Alexandria.
Okay.
So I was born in DC pretty much, you know. I was raised in Northern Virginia for most of my life.
Yeah.
I lived in different states around America. And lived in Spain for a short while, like 3 months. But I've always come back to DC because it just feels like home, I guess.
Yeah, it has a home vibe to it. It's very home-like, but it's still a city at the same time, which makes it so cool. Yeah.
So, did you go to school in DC?
I did. Well, actually, I grew up right outside of Maryland.
Okay.
So, I went to Blair High School.
Okay.
And my dad actually is a college professor. He teaches at Howard. So I was always kind of like in DC all the time. So
that's really cool.
Silver Spring is kind of like you cross the street and you're in DC, so it's not
that
much different. It's like
it's
Alexandria,
right?
Yeah,
it's right next to
or
DC.
that Arlington. No.
It's like over the border, yeah.
I don't know that much about Virginia. I don't go there that often.
So what did you go to school for? What did you study?
Like college.
Mm-hmm.
I studied art.
Okay. And so you took your art degree and you've now turned yourself into a stylist for the stars.
Yeah, I mean, I wanted to study fashion.
Okay.
And I kind of told my dad, who's also a college professor, and he doesn't teach anything artistic at all.
Okay. Yeah, what does it teach?
He teaches ancient Greek and Latin.
That's kind of
it's its own art.
Yeah,
yes,
its own art.
that's true.
Yeah, it's its own type of art.
It's very it's a particular subject and a type of study, and I think when not back then, but at that time, it wasn't as acceptable to want to spend a lot of money and go to school for fashion.
Yeah.
So he was not very supportive of that at first. I'll give him some credit now, but
it's hard at first. It's really hard at first, but this is back in like what 2010, 2008, 2007?
Yeah, 2007. Yeah,
Yeah,
2007.
And so that was back before
before the internet was really popping
that was probably
Instagram.
before. I think that was before Twitter, before Instagram.
Yeah.
So that was back when in order to sell content or something like that, you really had to actually sell it to TV or something. Like you had to schedule a business, like schedule like a meeting and with a business and like go and actually sell it. Now you just put it online and hope someone wants to see it.
And everybody's like knows what's going on now.
Pretty much, yeah.
I didn't even know there really was like things that you could, all these schools at first in fashion. And so I just knew that I was always artistic growing up. I didn't really want to do anything but art.
So how did you find, if your dad wasn't if your dad wasn't supportive back then, how did you find a place to go study art?
So he was always, okay, let me not say he wasn't supportive, but he was supportive in different ways.
Yeah, I mean, we know he's supportive now.
Yeah.
But back then, I guess his perspective of it back then was helpful.
Yeah.
It was helpful that he wasn't as supportive then.
Yeah.
Because that's probably what paved your path.
Yeah.
So I guess it's okay to say that back. Well, I don't know what's the right way to say it.
I definitely had to push myself a lot. It definitely helped me. It wasn't like some door was just in red carpet opened up for me. But
I'm sure he was like a supporter in being also a hater.
Yeah, exactly. He wanted the best for me for sure.
Yeah.
He did put me in art classes my whole life. So when I was like a little kid, I was always taking art classes. I went to art camp. I went to art schools.
Cool.
I was always doing
same, but it's like
artistic.
I always thought that was like I grew up always thinking that the thing I liked doing was just a hobby for like camp. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And then I was like, school. I'm so bad at school. What am I gonna do with my life? And like, but then we kind of grew up and now we can do this stuff.
Exactly. I will definitely be honest. I didn't get the best grades like in high school at all.
There's no shame in that. Absolutely not at all. I was definitely a top B student. Like that was like if I got a B, I was like, oh, thank God.
Yeah, that was.
But if I got an A, oh man, my whole house is partying tonight. Everyone's partying tonight.
I the same. I definitely was always better at math, and it was funny because math. Well, let me start from the beginning. I went to a French immersion school.
Whoa, cool.
So I studied French from like
the Blair School?
No.
Oh.
Blair was high school, but that was actually in English. But in elementary school and middle school was like French immersion. I went to Silver Spring International Middle School in Sligo Creek Elementary School, so it was completely immersed in French. I wasn't allowed to speak any English in class. Like it was completely like that was like what I did like as a kid. And we didn't start integrating English class until 5th grade. Then they were like, okay, you should take an English class. And I feel like it kind of, I don't know, it channeled some more senses for me because I started studying like reading and writing in English a little later than most people. But I was always good at math because math for me is visual. And it's the same in every language, and it was always just made sense to me. Like I can look at
math is visual.
Yeah, because it's like the numbers and the shapes, and it's just always just it clicked in my head immediately.
Okay.
So I always was good at that.
So if someone was to tell you a math problem like 2 + 2, you can't. Do you see 2 + 2, or do you have like?
Yeah.
So when you say math is visual, does it have to be on a paper, or do you see it regardless of?
I think that the shapes and the numbers is always better when you see it, like written on the board or like in front of you. But I can definitely listen to it and
visualize
and visualize it in a shape form rather than breaking it down in letters.
Okay. Interesting.
So that's always been. I think I was always a little bit more on the creative side, and that made sense. To me.
Yeah. I mean, growing up, I made videos for my art projects, like in biology.
Yeah.
We had to pick like an animal, I think, and do a project on it. And my teacher was like, do whatever creative project you want to do. It can be a bulletin board, or it can be a video, it can be a live broadcast.
Wow.
He said you can do it whatever you want. So I made a video, and I put the video. I think I put it on like a CD-ROM or something. Like back in the day when
CD-ROM.
when this was like probably
back in the day.
Oh no. Actually.
So far.
Actually, you were probably. I mean, you were in high school.
Yeah.
We were both in high school, but you were 2 years older than I was.
Yes, I am. I would have been too scared to do the video. I remember those being options. Like, you can do a video. Like, they would try to push your creativity, and I was like, no way am I going to do a video for you.
Whenever I had the opportunity to do a video, I basically took it up. But so, did you have anything in school that, like, growing up in school that turned you into like a stylist, a fashionista? Or did you just always like clothes? I think
I always just liked clothes. It was always like a big deal. Like as a teenager.
Do you have your school books or your yearbooks?
No, definitely not.
Oh man.
I'm not proud of a lot of those photos, but I will say
you were a kid.
Yeah, I do have some pictures lying around. It was always, as a teenage girl, it's always a big deal. Like, what are you going to wear the first day of school?
Totally.
And, like, what are you wearing? Like, you couldn't repeat outfits, and you had to do the whole thing. Like, everybody was just looking at what everybody was wearing. So that was already, like, a setup for, like, working in the industry.
Okay, yeah.
So that worked out. And thank God we didn't have Instagram back then.
Yeah, sweet. Well, now
it's really tough.
Now everyone's putting their kids' photos on Instagram. So
right, before they even
it's like we're reliving our childhood on the social media.
Exactly.
So you went to school, got a degree, and what did you do after getting a degree?
So I decided to study art because it was just the easiest step into working in creative. I just thought that, well, I don't want to study. There's nothing I want to study other than making art. So I just studied art, studio art. I was painting, sculpting, doing anything, graphic design. I did a lot of that. So then I guess I was always visiting New York because I was born there. My family's from there. My grandparents were still living there at the time. So I was always going there back and forth for the holidays. Okay. And I was just so obsessed with the city. Yeah. I was like, wow, like, this is like really where like culture is and creativity. And I just felt so empowered every time I was there. So then finally, I just like applied to some internships, and I got an internship, and then I packed my bags and moved that summer, and I didn't look back.
Cool.
So yeah.
Well, it seems like that's kind of the move. Most people when they finally pack the bags and just go, that ends up being like the right move. And
yeah, I definitely intended to only go for that summer. It was a summer internship, but then I just stayed. I was just too obsessed with it. I just didn't want to come back.
Well, it sounds like you found the right place to be.
Yeah.
Do you like LA?
I love LA, actually.
Yeah.
I go there very often. I lived there for about 3 months at one. That was the longest I had spent there.
You lived there for 3 months?
3 months.
Okay.
It was really good. It was really cool. I think now I'm really...
Like downtown LA?
Yeah, I lived in West Hollywood.
Wow, cool.
And I go there often. I have a lot of good friends that live there.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm always like trying to look for the next
Yeah, because I'm sure... Do you travel a lot for work?
Sometimes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Because you probably have to, do you style someone and then they fly?
Yeah.
Okay.
I do, yeah. A lot of projects I work on, sometimes it's in LA, and then you're working with people here.
Yeah, because you worked on the TLC, the My Feet Are Killing Me.
I did. I styled the promo video for it. So all the marketing ads that you see. I didn't work on the actual show because the show is basically them in a doctor's office. Yeah. But I styled the promotional ads for it. Okay. So every commercial that you see on the air right now, that was... Yeah, wow. I worked with all those scrubs. Yeah, it was fun.
That's cool.
Yeah, that's cool. And that company...
Do you want to answer your phone?
Oh, no, that's a Scam Likely.
Oh, I hate that shit.
Scam Likely is calling me.
Do you have call forwarding on?
No, because I'm scared. Actually, I've received a Scam Likely call, and it actually was somebody I knew. Now I'm like, I look at it like to see like where it says it's from. So sometimes I answer it.
You know what's funny is there are so many ways to reach me.
Yeah.
That
You can Instagram video people.
Yeah, no, I mean, like there's so many ways to reach me that is, if I don't answer someone's phone call, they don't really mind. And if you leave me a voicemail, I'll know for a fact that you're not someone I should talk to.
Right.
Because usually the voicemail is like 2 seconds of something quiet.
Yeah.
Then the next part is like the person telemarketer starts and then it stops.
Yeah.
But the call forwarding saved my life.
Oh, that's good.
Oh my god, it saved my life. I miss 40 calls from unknown every day.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
Yeah, I need to try that actually.
It's amazing. I mean, I do miss prospective calls that I should answer, but they leave voicemails, and I do check them. But it's pretty. I can tell when it's someone I should be answering.
Yeah.
Like if it's a missed call from a 202 number, I should probably answer it.
Right.
Because it's probably someone. Here.
See, for me, because I live in New York, every time I see a 202 number or 240 number, I know it's a scam. If it's a New York number, I'm like, okay, I should probably answer this.
Yeah, true. Okay, so what does it take to get to where you are now? So as a kid, did you think that you'd have to go through what you've gone through to become what you are now?
Well, I'll just say, like, I'm not, where I am right now is not where I ultimately want to be. I'm still a work in progress.
That's good. Everyone, I feel like everyone should be.
Yeah.
Except for like Oprah Winfrey.
Yeah, exactly. That's the end goal, right? You're just like, okay, I can settle now. I can be content with where I am. Yeah. I think I always wanted to do something great, and I always wanted to work. I always worked even as a young kid, and I just was willing to do whatever it takes to get to that next level. I never wanted to settle.
Good.
So I think that having that willpower and that ambition was important.
Mm-hmm.
So that motivated me and pushed me the whole way through. But yeah, I mean, I definitely took a different route than a lot of people did, like working my way up and kind of assisting and, like working with a bunch of different types of people and exploring that. So it definitely was challenging.
A lot of collaborations and stuff?
Yeah, a lot. So working with all sorts of different types of people. So it has its challenges, but I think it's worth it in the end, like where you can push yourself to go. So, I mean, I didn't know I'd be doing exactly what I'm doing now, but I
mean, the fashion industry might be fashionable, but it's not glorious. Like, it's definitely,
not.
I've done a lot of stuff, like pageants and stuff.
Yeah.
And it is gruesome. It's crazy. I mean, like, it's not, I guess what I'm trying to say is it's not beautiful.
Yeah.
The stuff that you have to do to look beautiful is not very beautiful.
Yeah.
It's not a very pretty lifestyle.
You have to have a certain personality, I think, for it. Even
Definitely.
me, like I seem like I'm very laid back and I'm very like chill, but when it comes to my work, I'm very like high intensity. Like I'm very serious about my work, and you can't really have you have to have a sense of urgency. Like the non-sense of urgency, like in work, will not help you get anywhere. Right. Like you'll be
and so it's
slow life.
I understand that because like when I'm doing my job and somebody kind of like asked me for a favor and they're like they're not like up to par with the speed I'm at.
Yeah.
I just kind of like leave them behind and kind of like forget. I just like to like.
Like I'll catch up with you later. I gotta go to the next thing.
Yeah, like.
I'm over here. I'm all the way up here. You're back there.
And I think that's how you get to that part in life where the thing that you're doing might be the most impressive part of your life so far, but to you it's just another like part of it's just another page. You know what I mean? Like you're just like turning the page of the book, which is pretty cool because you've done a lot of stuff.
Yeah.
And you've done. So what did you work? You worked on the Joker.
I worked on the Joker. Yes. The Joker movie. That was really cool.
Yeah.
It was a fun project.
Yeah.
So I work in. Basically, I'm in the costume design union.
Okay.
And the wardrobe union.
Wow.
So in order to work in film and television, you have to be in the union.
Okay, yeah.
Ultimately, you can be a production assistant and then kind of work your way into the union, which is what I did. And so I did background wardrobe for the Joker.
That's awesome.
So I kind of like dabble in different aspects of the film and wardrobe television industry, but I'm always like in wardrobe or costumes.
Okay. Very cool. And So when you said behind the scenes wardrobe?
Background, so like all the background actors.
Oh, got it. My bad. Okay.
So my
background.
sole job, well, I did a little bit of stuff with, I did help out a little bit with Joaquin Phoenix, but mostly I was working with the background. So
That's
it's
cool.
crazy. You don't really think about it too much when you're watching TV. You're just solely focused on the principal characters.
Right.
But that scene that you're watching probably has like 200 background actors that were hired, and then somebody's got to kind of be like looking over them.
Yeah.
Wardrobe wise.
So you styled two, like, so we'll say hypothetically in that case scenario, you have styled all the background people.
Well, it's not just me. It's usually like a team of like 20 people.
Okay.
You know, and that's the thing. It's like it takes like every
whole
department has like a huge team.
Right.
And it makes sense to make a big production like that. You can't just like do it all by yourself.
Totally.
It's like every department has its own world class of situations going on, and when you all come together, you make something great.
Cool.
So yeah, definitely was a lot under the direction of the costume designer, who was so incredible. But yeah, that was a fun one for sure.
And you also worked on Murphy Brown?
I worked on Murphy Brown, yes.
How'd that go?
That was fun too. That one was really cool because it was shot in front of a live audience, and I think that was a cool experience. Okay. Because most television shows aren't shot in front of live audiences.
Yeah, at least not these days, not anymore.
Yeah, no. That one was, but it didn't get picked up for a second season. That was sad. But it was a good ride.
Okay. What'd you do for Pose?
I also worked in background.
Oh, cool.
Background wardrobe. That background wardrobe was fun though, because everybody had to be dressed crazy.
Yeah, I bet. Yeah, because I've met Ryan Jamal Swain.
Oh. Yeah.
He's an actor on Pose. I don't
He's
know.
from DC, right?
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. I just did the Urban World recently, and he was at the Urban One Awards.
Oh, cool.
He was being honored by Billy Porter.
Oh, nice.
Yeah. It airs on January 20th. Yeah.
Oh, cool. He's so amazing, Billy Porter.
Yeah. He was really cool. And then so you also you did Sid Mitch. I don't know who Sid Mitch is, but the Charlie's Angels interview.
Oh yeah. That's a friend of mine, Sydney Mitchell. Oh yeah, she's so talented. She's like a personal like TV host.
Oh,
so
cool.
She kind of goes around interviewing different people, like for different interviews. Like
that's awesome.
She's like just did something with like Janelle Monáe, and then like then she just did something actually with the cast of Cats, the new movie.
Oh wow!
And she was in London, but I was supposed to work with her for that, but I didn't get a chance to. But yeah, I style her on air.
Do you do mainly like rock stars, like musicians, or do you do like actors?
I mean, I mostly work for the since I'm in the union, I work mostly through the union for television. But I do work with some musicians and celebrities.
Because most of the time that I've seen you, since I've met you on what was it, Memorial Day? I think it was. What I've seen that you've shared mostly is like people playing on stage.
Yeah, I do
for the most part.
Artists. I mean, I also do a lot of assisting work. Like I worked with 2 Chainz.
Oh, cool.
Assisting wives and.
Wow, you were assistant?
Yeah, I was one of the assistants. There's a lot.
Wow.
And then I just recently worked with thewnk on his new music video. That was cool.
That's really cool.
But yeah, I mean, I feel like I've done so much work assisting wise. It's just kind of like I'm all over the place.
Yeah.
I think for me now, it's about what's next is what can I do of my own, you know?
Yeah, definitely. Like work on building your own brand.
Yeah.
Towards like your person. Do you style yourself, or do you just kind of wear whatever you feel like wearing?
I'm always styling myself unconsciously.
Yeah, of course.
Not thinking about it as hard as I do with other people.
But do you ever wear just like something that looks bad just for fun?
I don't think anything ever like looks bad. It's all about what you do and how you do it and how you own it, you know?
Okay.
Somebody can think something looks bad and then somebody puts it on and wears it the right way, and it's like, wow, that's actually like super fire, and it's not as bad as I thought it was.
Good point. So you've never done a podcast before.
I've never done a podcast.
Is that because you don't like talking about yourself?
It's definitely awkward to talk about yourself, but this, you know, if you have like a drink or something in your hand, it might make it easier to do so.
That's good. That's good.
Yeah. But
and so,
cool.
You live in New York?
I live in New York.
Full time?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. And you've been in DC for Christmas?
Yep.
Yeah, and then you're staying through New Year's?
Yep. I'm going to stay through New Year's.
Very fun. Do you have any New Year's plans?
Nope.
No?
Actually, not exactly. Not yet.
Really?
I'm looking for something fun to do, but I haven't heard of anything. I kind of have a low expectation on New Year's because it's there's so much pressure on the day, and then when you get so excited and then you get let down, it's not a good feeling.
My birthday is New Year's Eve.
What?
Yeah.
That's crazy. So December 31st?
Yeah.
Wow, there's a lot of pressure there.
Yeah, so like I have a lot of fun on New Year's Eve because it's my birthday.
Yeah.
But
everyone's like celebrating you.
Yeah, that's what I like to pretend. I like to pretend everyone's celebrating me, but yeah, I mean I'm gonna bring my friend got a ticket to every year I go to the Gaylord. There's a thing called Big Night DC.
Yeah.
So every year I go to Big Night. Well, for the past 4 years, maybe the past 4 years. And I get a ticket to Poe's nightclub. It's a little expensive, but I figure on a night like New Year's Eve, if you're gonna go to a place where everyone's celebrating and the stuff, it's more expensive because. Excuse me. I figure you might spend at least a few hundred anyways.
Yeah.
So Poe's nightclub is pretty much the cost of that, of an expensive night out, which is New Year's Eve, and it's my birthday, so it's like a ticket to my present to myself.
Yeah.
But my photographer Xavier, he got a ticket to Pose, so we're gonna run around the main floor with the photographer. We did this last year too, but we didn't do Pose last year, so I'm really excited about Pose. It's like an exclusive nightclub that's attached to the Gaylord. Yeah. Anyways,
I did hear about a warehouse party. My friend just told me.
Oh, okay. I know. I heard Eden is gonna be fun. Eden's nightclub? Eden's like in some nightclub right here. It's pretty cheap and it's like an open bar. I think everything is gonna have open bar.
I just need to hit up people where my friends are.
Yeah, exactly. You got like the when you're the stylist of the stars, you gotta be able to find a pretty good party
doesn't
somewhere.
Help me that much these days.
Well, thank you for joining me. I appreciate you spending some time over here.
That was fun.
And I look forward to hearing some stories when you come back for the holidays the next time. When you come through DC, you can come and drop some juicy stories.
Oh yeah, I got you. I feel like I can talk for hours with you.
Yeah, isn't this fun? I'm glad you got comfortable. Cheers.
I'm very comfortable. Thank you.
I told you it wouldn't be stressful.
It's not. It's easy peasy.
Easy peasy. I should have turned this on.
Oh, what's that? Ooh, lights. No, I think. Okay. That's cool. I like the lights. But it looks more like authentic.
More party.
Yeah. It could be either one.
All
I'll
right.
have to do this again with you. This is fun.
Good. I'm glad you liked it. I had fun. Thanks for coming.
Thanks for having me.
Oh, I mean, you don't gotta.
I can keep talking.
Yeah, you can if you want.
I think I'd rather talk this way through life than regular.
Yeah, it's just like straight and direct, like
and
right.
Your voice just sounds better.
Yeah.
I feel like my voice sounds like I can listen to my voice.
Mm-hmm.
Because it's like auto-corrected slightly.
Usually, sometimes when I have friends that come over here, we're literally just hanging out.
Yeah.
I'd be like, hey, do you mind putting the headphones on?
You're like, let's talk like this. This is better.
Yeah, because like if I'm double tasking, multitasking.
Multitasking.
Oh my gosh. Yeah, if I'm multitasking, then it's easier for me to put the headphones on so my friends can speak right into my head. Like if I'm editing, for example, right?
Yeah.
Then I put these on, then I can edit while you're talking to me.
Yeah.
Through the headphones.
Yeah.
Because then the what I'm editing will come through my headphones as well.
Yeah.
So you'll basically be talking through my edit.
Right.
So like, if I was listening to what my editor was saying, I could also hear you, which
it's
is
kind of like the way DJs work. Like they can hear what they're making, and they can hear what's going on in the album. They can do the mixing.
Yeah,
makes sense.
Mm. Do you do a lot of like creative work with like content?
Nope.
No.
I try to like stick to one thing and just try to master that.
That's good.
But I would love to. Like I think when I was first getting into social media, I was into all that stuff, and I just didn't like grow with it the way other people grew with it.
Yeah.
Wish I did.
How'd you meet Paul?
Through Adrian Loving.
I don't know Adrian.
He was there.
Okay.
Adrian he was at that pool party. He is one of my really good friends of all time. He is such a creative genius. He's a high school arts teacher / like he used to teach college arts too, and he's a DJ, musical like genius, and like always making art projects, and it always influenced me. It's like he kind of saw something in me, and then was just kind of like watering and feeding that a lot, and I love having people like that around me, because it just makes you feel like, oh, you can do great. But I did a fashion show in DC in 2012, and it was called Disrobe the District, and I kind of like
Disrobe
the District.
Cool.
I put this whole thing I got a team and put this whole project together from scratch, basically. Just kind of like got the designers, got the models, got the space, and we invited everybody. We promoted it, and it ended up being a pretty big hit. And I had some friends, my good friends in the industry, they DJ'd it, and it got a little bit of buzz. And I think Adrian kind of witnessed that, and he was like, wow, you really, can do something, like kind of like make a baby and like watch it grow sort of thing. And I think being able to do that on a smaller scale, it's like, okay, well, what can you do on a bigger scale? And so it was always somebody kind of motivating me. Okay. He's really cool.
That's
you
awesome.
should interview him. He's good at
I would love to, yeah.
He's good at talking about himself too.
That's fantastic. Yeah, once I make this and send it to you, you should send it to him so that he can understand, he can see what it is, and I'll send him an invite.
Yeah, I know. It's cool. I've had a lot of good mentors in this industry.
Do you think DC is a creative place?
Definitely.
Yeah.
I love DC. I wish I could be here full time. Definitely has a lot of creativity roaming around. A lot of cool people from all over the country that come here. And it's booming every day. There's always somebody doing something cool here that I'm admiring. I think it's cool. I love to say that I'm from here for sure.
That's good to hear, especially from someone that's living in New York right now.
Yeah, New York is, sometimes it's nice to be in the middle of something that's growing. When it's already grown up and like saturated, it's kind of draining a little bit. Yeah. When you feel like the growth and like people collaborating, it gives you more like ammunition, I guess. It just motivates me more personally.
Well, how has your time been back in DC that you've spent here?
It's been cool.
Isn't anything cool you've done recently? Did you go out? Did you go out last night?
I didn't go out. I hung out with my little brother and sister. That was fun.
Oh, fun. How old are they?
They're young. They're pretty young. They're like 13 and 16.
That's not pretty young. You are not that old.
I know. I'm very old, and they're very young.
God damn it.
Well, I was like 16 when my sister.
You're not old.
Yeah,
16 is not young.
They're really cool kids. Like they're so like with it and hip, and like they like get it. Like they get life.
Yeah,
and
totally.
I think you get life at an early age now when you have social media, because like you see everything.
I promise you, when you were 16, you thought you got it too. You thought you understood.
I did think I had it. I was like, I know everything about life right now. Like I don't
Dude,
know.
it's so crazy when people are like. When people are like 26, right, and they're like, "Oh man, I'm like young and hip," and then turn 27, they're like, "Oh, I'm such an old man."
Yeah.
Like, no, you're not. No.
Not 27, maybe 37.
No, because I know people that are 45 that are still fucking dope at kicking it and doing awesome things.
I love people like J-Lo because they motivate me. It's not just because she looks good at her age, but because she's always saying that you can do anything at any age.
Yeah.
Like you can literally start learning a language at 50. Like why not? Like just start a new profession at 50. Like why can't you?
Stop focusing on your age. There's no reason to focus on how old you are.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like saying that your siblings are so young.
Well, that's pretty young. My brother's 13 years old.
That's pretty young.
He was 12, like not that long ago.
Yep, that's how numbers work.
Are you 12 or 13? Yeah, no, but they're very advanced.
Yeah, seriously though, because like my godson has a iPad. He's got an iPad that he like manipulates better than I ever could.
Yeah, they know how to work the whole system.
Yeah, and like
they got it all down.
and they play with it as if it's like a whiteboard. Because
Yeah.
like they'll be done playing with it and they'll just like throw it across the floor.
Yeah, it's like iPads are like the most like generic thing for kids these days. They're like, my iPad, I'm only 2 years old. I just got an iPad for the first time. I'm like,
Yeah.
that's like
I've
not
literally
easy.
never had an iPad.
I just got one because I was like, I need one for work. But
Literally never had one.
it's like
iPhones for sure, yeah, and laptops, yeah, and camera and all that stuff. But I've never had an
you
iPad.
have everything else. So yeah, two computers, 10 cameras. Yeah, I want to make this like a weekly thing. This is like
Ooh.
I have a lot to say on a weekly basis.
Yeah,
We need to do this more often.
we can do remote interviews.
No, I like the whole thing.
Oh, yeah,
like
yeah,
the
okay.
Maybe not weekly.
But you live in
Maybe
New
not weekly.
Yeah, how would you do? You
The
live in
next
New
time
York.
I'm in town, I want to do it again.
Okay, good. I like to hear that. Cause you live in New York, so like every time you come down, you can tell me all your New York stories.
Okay, cool.
Yeah, you can save up your like New York gossip
I had some cool stories.
and be like, you wouldn't believe what happened to me with last week when I was at work.
I have a lot of those stories, but
You're watching The Wink. Don't forget to like and subscribe and hit that bell icon for new notifications. Doodly doodle. Wow, ew. I'm just kidding.